Hey, welcome. Love Speaks, Day 21. Eleanor Roosevelt said this: "You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You must do the thing you think you cannot do." As a young person, I suffered from lack of confidence, very much so. I even was intimidated by the coffee maker. Being newly married, I remember talking to my sister, "I don't even know how to work this thing. I feel so intimidated by the freaking coffee maker. How do you do this thing?" And I remember feeling bewildered and ashamed that basically I lacked these basic skills. So also the other thing is, if I couldn't do something perfectly, I wouldn't let myself do it, because my self-esteem couldn't take the beating that I would give myself for not having done it perfectly, for having made a mistake. Those days I didn't allow myself ever to make a mistake, because I felt that was the definition of being a failure. And I've learned over the years different, but in those days I really suffered from those false concepts that I had learned. So my husband came home one day and he said, "Let's go whitewater rafting with our friends." So this is back in the 80s, and I was in my 20s, and I had a wonderful sense of adventure, and that appealed to me, and I was terrified. And I said, "Sure, let's go," wanting to please him and also wanting to experience the adventure. Because I didn't let myself do things unless I did them perfectly, I led a very boring life. So this was a chance to have some adventure. And the problem was, however, is that I was really petrified, because I didn't know what I was doing. I'd never whitewater rafted before. So I had this fantasy as we traveled to West Virginia that I would be sitting in the middle of this raft and everybody else could just do what they did, and since they must know what they're doing, and I could go along for the ride. And I wondered if that was even a possibility, but that was my fantasy. And when we arrived at the New River in West Virginia, I found out that the river was too low for the big raft, and that we actually would be navigating our own individual rafts called ducks. And I was upset because I didn't feel up to the task. Anyway, going along, being brave, I got in my duck, and everybody else did too. And we got trained very well, which I was relieved. And of course, I learned easily and actually had the day I'll never forget. And as I was cruising down the river in my kayak, it felt like a kayak, but it was actually a duck. And I realized that as I'm in the calm waters of the river, that was life a lot of the times. A lot of the times there's not a lot going on, and you can just cruise and take a look at the beautiful nature and the beauty surrounding us. And then sometimes life speeds up, and the water starts to get really, rough, and you can just feel the rapids coming up, and you got to psychologically get ready And then you've got some work to do, and then you paddle and you navigate with your whole being, with your whole self, and then you get through it and life pops you out into the next calm episode of your life. And I never forgot it. So when I took on this YouTube and Facebook Live challenge of 28 days in February, it brought back that memory of, every day when I get ready for this Facebook Live, I can feel the waters starting to get, quick and speed up. And then as I'm speaking to you now, I'm navigating and looking for the words that I want to say as best as I can. And then when I say goodbye, I'm done and I'm popped out of the experience, and I can pat myself on the back and say, it's okay, it wasn't perfect. It's okay if you stumbled. It's okay if you didn't say it as perfectly as you wanted to say it, because you learned a little bit more today and you didn't drown. So my call to action for you today is, what thing will you let yourself do that you haven't up until now? Namaste. Ciao for now. See you tomorrow.